Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. So I'll be continuing with question number 2 from the assignment. So if you have not watched the video for number 1 and you need clarification, you can do that before watching this video. So question 2 is trying to test your understanding of if function. And the way it does that is by presenting a scenario where you need to grade students. So it's done in such a way that you have 400 students enrolled in a course, and then you have been given the grade on an Excel spreadsheet. So it was intentionally done to have 400 students so that you can surely use the formula. And the good thing about this particular assignment, this number 2, why I really like it is because it's not something that it's hidden. You can you can instantly assess your performance, because when you see the score, you already have an understanding of what the grade should be. But this time around, you are just trying to automate the process using Microsoft Excel formulas. And so going to the spreadsheet, I will describe the way the spreadsheet looks like. So now let's go to the spreadsheet together. So the spreadsheet of assignment 2 looks like this. Now look at this spreadsheet here. I have written inside here the matric number. From the matric number, I have assignment 1, assignment 2, assignment 3, quiz 1, exam. So, I mean, everyone here should already be familiar with all this kind of thing, assignment breakdown. And so the first thing that should come to your mind is, I want to calculate the total score. And total score is going to be an addition of course, all the scores. So you have to look for a formula that will add up all the scores here and give you the total score here over 100 for all the 400 students. And so from the scores for the total, for the exam, the total score of the exam, then you go ahead and work on the grade. So this is the first challenge. The grade is having to put it together using the Microsoft Excel formula, which is the if function. So just a quick recap. So inside the practice 3, we worked on the if statement, the if function specifically. And in this one, if you remember type 3, what happened there was that we tried to use the nested if function. The nested if function to um, to look at the taxation policy. Okay, the same thing was done here. So here we worked using numbers and formulas. We combined with if function. Here we try to assign a value. And so in this place, it was saying um, on the boundary, if this one is less than is greater than 0, is a profit. So we're trying to know if the person has made a profit or has made a loss, and or the person has broken even. So there were different conditions, if you remember. So if the amount is greater than 0, is a profit. If the amount is equal to 0, is break even. And so you have to look at the question properly and determine how you want to understand it. But let us just try to analyze it together. Normally, the grading system you are familiar with is A is starting from 70, B starts from 60, and all that. However, this is a different grading system which you have to adapt to. So it means that, for instance, let's take it one by one. It means that you expect to see anything that is less than 65. Okay, anything that is less than 65, okay, is an F. And so the next boundary, of course, When you want to work with this thing, you do it on a boundary basis, and you have to decide, are you using the lower boundary? The lower boundary in this one, in the for E is 65. The upper boundary is 66. So for instance, anyone that gets above 97 or above gets A plus. Anyone that gets 93 and above gets A. Well, you say that, okay, what about 97? Because 97 is greater than 93. Because we have already defined the condition for A plus, it will automatically overwrite whatever will have been assigned to this if they are going to intersect. So what I'm trying to say is, let us go back to our spreadsheet. So in this spreadsheet here, for this one here, of course, if the if D4 is greater than 0, so here you can always start from the highest. Okay, greater than 0, you can do it whichever way you like. So in this one, it started from the profit. Okay, even though the profit were the lower values. So if D4 is greater than 0, so in this case, you can say, if so 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 and so score, if so 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 and so is greater than this score, give the person this grade, and then you keep on going like that. So you can start from the highest and go down until you get to the lowest. you know and then once you have nested all your if functions, so they've done this. So look at what we did here. We defined a condition for profit, which is this if function. We nested another one for break even, and then we did the one for loss. So what is happening is that in an if statement, you can see there is logical test, value if it is true, and value if it is false. So it means that in this one, you need to just define 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you need to define just 11 nested if functions, and the other one will come as the value if false. So you need to find a way to study. So I would advise, go and study, try to do that practice 3 again. Try to work on that practice 3 spreadsheet again. Work on the practice 3 spreadsheet. Um, Practice 3 spreadsheet, like looking at this one now. Maybe I should take that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So once you have been able to do for like 11, you don't need to do for everything. The last one can just be the value if false. And so you can just go ahead and try to understand how this thing worked the other time. If you are able to do for this, you should be able to understand for the other one and fix it. And so once you have done for the grade, which is in, let's go to assignment 2. Once you have done for the grade, the next thing you need to do for is for the GPA. So you have two options. Is either you use the score to determine the use this total score again to determine the GPA, or you use a grade which you have already calculated first to determine the GPA. Whichever one you decide to use will give you the correct answer. However, it is advisable that if you can link a formula to a data which is calculated and not inferred, it will have. So it's more advisable to link the grade to the total score, and at the same time link the GPA to the total score. Because for instance now, assuming you've gone ahead to calculate the grade and the formula was wrong, it means that automatically your GPA will be wrong. But if you made a mistake here, you might not make the same mistake here. So, so the way you link formulas to one another, you should be careful about it, because if one place is wrong, it would affect the other places. And so once you have done the total score, you've done the grade, so you should have a very long nested if function for this, and then for this you should have a very long nested if function. Once you have found it, then the next thing is to find the average class score, and then find the average class GPA. So the answer which we expect it to be here for the average class score, and for the average class GPA, I expect the answer to be here. Now, please take note, in Excel, formulas which require text, you put it in quotation mark. And so if you are going to write the grade, you put it in quotation mark. If you look at this, let's go back here to practice 3. Remember, when I was writing profit, I put it in quotation mark because profit is a text. However, by the time I came to assigning values for the figure, I did not put it in quotation mark. If you put your figures in quotation mark, you will not be able to perform any arithmetic operation on it, like addition, average, and all those things. So you should be very careful, or else you will not get the correct answer that you are looking for. And with that, once you're able to fix that, you will be able to really answer what is required of you in assignment 2. Now for assignment 3, let us look at the question together. For assignment 3, okay, it says that as a fresh recruit of a HR department of a multinational company, you want to reconcile and all that and all that and all that. So basically, you want to apply the VLOOKUP function, and at the same time, you want to apply the index and match. So the reason why we will be looking at the index and match is because we are trying to overcome the limitation that we will surely experience on the VLOOKUP function, which if you really paid attention in the class, you will remember that I took time to explain the limitation of the VLOOKUP function, which is why index and match is more reliable. Okay, now let us go to the worksheet to understand it. So now you can see here, I have 3 worksheets after assignment 2. I have employee information, employee information, employee salary, employee salary, and assignment 3. So another thing you need to also look at is that these things are databases. Now look at this. This is a database. You are not supposed to do any calculation inside this place. It's the database, employee information. This is a database. This is a database of the salary and then the respective employee. And then you now have this one here. So what you are supposed to do is that using that database, you are supposed to go and look for the value. For instance, what you will have done normally without a formula is to go to this employee under the database for the full name. Normally, what you'll have, this is what you'll have done. You go there, this employee, you copy, right? You copy it here. What you have done normally with that formula. So it is not as if all these things we are doing with formula cannot be done normally, but we are trying to automate it. So you go there, you go to employee information. Okay, let's say we search for it, Control F, I search for it, paste, find it. So Maggie Shoop, and then the experience, and then the experience 8 years, and then she's the chief financial officer. So same thing can also apply here. Let's say I'm looking for the salary, and then I find it here. Then I know our salary is $149,368. However, that is a very laborious process. It is extremely stressful. Imagine we have about 1,000 records. That will take all your time. So that's the reason why we are using the lookup function. So you are told from the assignment to do some things. So from the assignment problem, first thing you said you should look up the full name, job title, and experience using the VLOOKUP function. To do that, you have to put your VLOOKUP function. So once again, I will just explain the components of the VLOOKUP function. So let's go to practice for spreadsheet. For the VLOOKUP function, you have first, you have the lookup value. Lookup value is what you are looking for. So in this spreadsheet of assignment 3, your lookup value is the employee ID. So you are looking for the employee ID is your lookup value. The next thing is that your lookup table. Let's go back here. You see, it's saying that lookup value, look up the table array. So the table array, you have to go and select everything that you expect to be in that place. And so this is, of course, this is the table that we are looking for. It's the table we are looking for. This is the table we are looking for. Now remember, I told you that VLOOKUP can only look from the right to from the left to the right in this direction, not like this. So you can look from C towards F or from B towards this thing. However, because our lookup value is employee ID, it means that I cannot take this place as my table. Why? Because employee ID is not the outermost part of this table. So it means that if I want to use this table, I have to pick it from here to somewhere like here. So I fix it there. So that is something you should take note of. VLOOKUP. And so look at that. I have my table array. Now, why did I put dollar sign there and all those things? You have to figure it out. I explained the column index number. Column index number is the relative position. So relative position of this one is number 1. Full name relative position is number 2. Experience relative position is number 3. Job title relative position is number 4. So you need to figure out where how you put it and where to apply it. So you have the lookup value, the table array, the column index number, and then the range lookup. So I explained in the class that for now, what we have learned is to use the false range lookup. The reason is because you want an exact match. So the false range lookup will give you an error if you do not find what you are looking for, and that can easily help you to identify if there was a problem with your formula or not. And so see how you can look at, so try to study what we have done here and see how you can apply it inside assignment 3. And then finally, for the second part of the problem, so I asked you to look for the salary using the index and match functions. Now, for the index and match functions, index is a function, match is another function. So I said you first of all start with match and then you complete it using the index. And so if I go back to this assignment that we have done, the practice rather, practice 4, you remember here for this same problem, we used the index and match. So first of all, found the match. For the match function, you can see here, match function start with the lookup value. The same thing you know about lookup value is still the same thing. Lookup array. Now this lookup array, you don't need to take the whole table. You just need to pick the column where you are looking from. So here, this CG501 was in this column J. That's why our lookup array is J to J. So I explained why I picked the whole column instead of picking just these 3, because the column can keep expanding, and you don't want your formula to keep changing. So you can use that if you think is okay. And then the match type, the same thing is exact. However, why in VLOOKUP for exact match you write false, but in the match function, instead of you don't write false, you write 0. So it's still the same thing but different presentation. Okay. So once you have done that, so that's why we have 0 there. You now combine that match function inside the index function. So if for the index function, you start with the array. So you can see that the match, so the row number in the index function is the entire match function that you have written at first. So the array is now like, why this one in the why the array in the match is talking about, the lookup array is talking about where you are looking for, which is the stage 501. The array in the index is telling you that, okay, not that thing that you are looking for now, this the answer, like the result of what you are looking for, that's at the particular course description, where is it located. So that's why we have k to k, because we want the real values that we're looking for, which is like a process control optimization physical chemistry, to be the final result. So index is what gives the final result inside this formula. Index function gives the final result. Match helps you to get the final result. So you have to go back and look at this very well, see how it can be applied to interpret this problem. But summarily, for column C, D, and F, works with the VLOOKUP as already specified, and column E will be solved using the index and match. And so the assignment in number 3 tests everything that you have done with the lookup function. And if you have been able to go through all the assignment, the problem statement number 1, 2, and 3, you will have been able to fully understand everything that was explained and was taught in the week 2 class that um, we had on April 17, 2021. So I believe with this, you should be able to find solving the assignment much easier by following this hint. So it's recommended that you submit your attempt before 11:59 p.m. on Friday, April 23, 2021, so that it can be graded and a review can be sent back to you. So thank you very much. I wish you happy solving of the assignment.